Okay, I think we are ready to go. So once again, welcome to all for joining the webinar. Today webinar will be on the Port of Limburg. I think you all have seen the news on the Port of Limburg announcing that they will secure their yard with secure container release together with It's Me. And so today I'm very happy to be here together with Stella. Hi Stella, to talk you through the details of how Port of Limburg will secure their terminal and how, of course, you can pick up containers with secure container release at Limburg, at the Port of Limburg. So you know that we are on a mission to make the port a bit more secure. So we try to avoid PIN codes and we replace them by blockchain tokens. That's what we do with secure container release. Maybe you used to know the laadvolgen or the delivery order. That has been replaced by PIN codes, which are sensitive to fraud. They are also not that efficient. And so with secure container release, we offer a solution to that problem. We've been here for quite a while. We are an Antwerp startup. Since 8 years, we've been founded. In 2020, we were piloted, or the MSC has introduced us in the port of Antwerp. And then Hapag-Lloyd and CMA has joined us. Also, MPET is using our software. Hapag-Lloyd, previously last year, Hapag-Lloyd has introduced us in UK and Poland as well. And today the webinar will be about the introduction of SCR in the Port of Limburg. So we are working for quite some companies right now. So MSC, CMA and Hapag-Lloyd are the three carriers that are using us. We are active in Belgium, in the different ports in Belgium, but also in Netherlands, Poland and UK, SCR is being used. And so we are quite actively used also by freight forwarders, transport companies, exactly the audience we have today on the webinar. I think, Stella, we are a bit more than 5,000 and we are going to 6,000 companies that have onboarded in a lot of countries, 25 countries. And so MPET is using, as the first terminal, is using secure container release to secure the pickup of their containers, and also Port of Limburg is using secure container release right now. We're also connecting a few other terminals through Courier EDI. Voilà. So what's the scope of the webinar today? Of course, the pickup at the deep sea terminal, for instance, MPET, that's something that we are not going to discuss. I think you're familiar, most of you are familiar with that. So we are not going to discuss that. It's the first release. But of course, every container that arrives in the Port of Limburg has been picked up at a deep sea terminal somewhere, be it MPET or another terminal. And so the topic of the webinar is exactly the second release, which you can see here, where you need SCR, but also It's Me. And Stella will guide you through the different steps that needs to be taken for the releases at Port of Limburg. So with that, Stella, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Christian. Good morning, everybody. So I will explain a little bit more on the practical side, on how it will work when you need to send your drivers to pick up containers in the Port of Limburg. It's actually pretty simple. There are 3 steps that need to be taken. First step is registering your driver. Step 2 is assigning that driver in SCR. And step 3 is a physical pickup process. At the gate, you can use your It's Me app to pick up the container. Now I will show you some screenshots of our application such that you know what steps on the practical side you will need to take. Step 1 is, as mentioned, to register your driver using his or her It's Me ID. This step needs to be done only once, of course. So you will enter the SCR application. Any user can do that. It's not only for admin users. All users can add and modify drivers. So you will go to the SCR app. you will select in the drop-down menu below the user icon, you will select there the driver's topic, and you are ready to start. When you click the driver's button, you will see the screen of your driver.
We have a technical issue. We'll just switch PCs because apparently the screen isn't really working properly. So let's do this quickly. Here you go, Stella.
Thank you. So clicking the driver button will send you to this screen where you can either add or edit a driver. You will need to add the driver's name, his email address, and for sure pay attention that the It's Me link is toggled. When you have done that, you can click the button Add Driver. This clicking of the button will send an email to the driver on his email address that you have just entered. So the driver will receive an email. Before the driver can get into action, it is of course important that the driver has downloaded the It's Me app on his mobile phone. This is available in the app stores. Most of you know the It's Me application. So the driver will need to download it on his phone, and that together with the email that he has received from Secure Container Release will allow the driver to identify himself. The driver will click the link actually in the email that he received. He will go to the It's Me web portal. He will enter his phone number, and then on his mobile phone he will be able in the It's Me app to identify himself and to confirm that he is who was entered by the planner. When this action has been taken by the driver, then you are actually ready to start assigning drivers for the pickup process in the Port of Limburg. You will be able to select one or more containers in the application and assign them to a specific driver. Now, when doing so, it's important that you add a driver, that you assign a driver, which has, of course, the It's Me link enabled. And this for the planner is visible in the SCR application because all drivers that have successfully linked their It's Me ID will be available and will be made visible in the It's Me column in the application. So when selecting a container for an assigned driver, you will also see the list of the drivers, and you will be able to see whether it's an It's Me registered driver or not. You can find the It's Me check mark in those two columns. This is for the administration part. In SCR, the driver is linked to a specific container, so that means that your driver is ready to drive to the Port of Limburg. At the Port of Limburg, the driver will go to the gate, and he will need to pass a few screens at the gate itself. Of course, he will need to click the button at the screens on the gate to start the process. He enters his country code and his phone number, confirms that he wants to pick up a full container in this case, enter the container number, and then he will need to switch to his It's Me app again in order to make sure that the link between the container and the driver are confirmed. So he will need to identify himself again in the It's Me application by simply confirming that he is the driver that is linked in SCR to that specific container. The Port of Limburg will check in SCR together with It's Me, will check whether there is a match between the driver that is presenting himself at the gate and the container that he wants to pick up. When there is a match, there is a successful response, and the driver will get the message, proceed to yard, where the physical pickup process can start. So it's actually a few steps that need to be taken in advance: registering your driver, making sure It's Me is connected, assigning them in the SCR application, driving to the gate, and confirming via the It's Me app again. So this is the pickup process at the Port of Limburg. For the ones that already have an SCR account, most of the processes are probably already known. When you are new to SCR, you will, of course, as a first step, need to get an SCR account. So in order to get started with SCR, you also need to follow 3 steps. You will first need to get invited. This can be done by an ocean carrier or by your release party, by your customer. So anyone with an SCR ID can invite you to the application. You will get a link to fill in the onboarding form, and after setting your password, you are ready to start using SCR. So it's a 3-step process which will take maximum 15 minutes, so it will not hinder the operational process. Maybe back to you, Christian.
Yeah, we have foreseen a dedicated landing page on everything you need to know about the introduction of SCR at the Port of Limburg. It's securecontainerrelease.com/no pin codes, please. You can see it here at the screen, and everything is explained in a similar way that we explained also the secure picket at MPET. So it's all the information you need to know is available there. Of course, question is, what does it cost? Well, it doesn't cost any additional for you. If you have a subscription, you can also use your containers, or you can also use your existing subscription, at least if you have a valid subscription. So if you're using SCR Basic, that's the free version, then the Port of Limburg is included, so you don't have to do anything. And of course, if you have the premium version, you need to check maybe on your invoice. That's the most easy way. If you have a subscription for BE, Belgium, country code Belgium, or if you have an old subscription, there is mentioned Port of Antwerp, Bruges. We will update that description in the coming days. But if you still see that it's okay, Port of Limburg is included in your subscription. If you only have a subscription for country code NL, Netherlands, the Port of Rotterdam for the older subscriptions, or only for UK or Poland, you do need to order an additional subscription for Belgium. The same applies for API, but for API we request you to contact us via email. If you want to order a premium subscription, you can do that via the order form, which is shown here at the screen. For the basic, you don't need to do anything. And if you have any questions, if you are not sure if you're having the right subscription or the right formula, just contact us through the chat in our app or via the email support us. That there is an issue with the screen, we solved that. Thank you, Debbie, for mentioning the black screen. Okay, Dennis, the connection is losing. Okay, maybe that's an issue at your side. Hopefully the connection will be back again. Are there any further questions for us? Okay, that's the first time we didn't get any questions, so maybe there is an issue with the chat. It could also be. So please feel free to contact us and reach out to us. Okay, the last 2 minutes were not. Okay, the last 2 minutes were not successfully. There is a question of Dennis. Maybe Stella, can we just go back, because apparently there was an issue with the connection. So Debbie is mentioning that the last 2 minutes were not covered. So that would quickly go back. What would be 2 minutes? Maybe just to be sure, as okay.
Maybe we can already answer the question.
Yeah, good idea.
Am I on?
Yes, your mic is on.
All right, thank you. So I see here first question coming in. Do drivers have to be working via It's Me? Yes, absolutely. Drivers will need to register via an It's Me ID, working with the It's Me application, with the It's Me app on their mobile phone. I see that someone mentions that they have drivers from abroad, which should not be an issue. There is also a list available on the It's Me website for all the countries that have already been included. Now, in case you will have a driver from an origin where It's Me is not yet covered at the moment, there will be a PIN code fallback solution to enter the gate. But the idea is, in any case, that you assign the driver, if possible, of course, link the It's Me ID of the driver. Only in fallback cases where it's really not possible, the PIN code will be made available. Okay. Also, question from Dennis, as from which date will SCR be mandatory? Well, the Port of Limburg aims to start on the 3rd of March. So when they open their gates, they will deliver containers via SCR straight from the start.
Okay, I'm just checking with Debbie. Can you tell us as from when the connection was dropping, so we can repeat what was missing? So feel free to share it in the chat.
Any other questions?
Okay, so Debbie was mentioning that we dropped as from the premium subscription, so there is no additional costs if it comes to premium subscriptions. So it means that if you have the Belgium subscription for SCR Premium, you are covered. We do have some older subscriptions that mention Port of Antwerp Bruges. That's why we updated it to Belgium, because also Port of Limburg is included in that subscription, but we know that in our invoice we still mention Port of Antwerp Bruges. But if you have a premium subscription for Belgium, you're covered. If not, you can order it online. Of course, if you have the free version, the SCR basic version, you don't have to do anything. It's included in the basic version as well. And also for the API, the same applies. So you do need to have a valid subscription for Belgium. Also there, the same applies. So if you have a subscription for Port of Antwerp, Port of Limburg is also included. So that will be updated shortly on your invoice as well. But if you have a subscription only for the Netherlands or UK or Poland, but not for Belgium, you do need to take action and make sure that you have the valid subscription. You can do it online for the premium subscriptions, and for API, you can just send us an email. And if you're not sure, please feel free to contact us. We are more than happy to help you to make sure that you have the right subscription. There is a question from Dennis. Moeten wij ook rekening houden met dat de It's Me functionaliteit in Antwerpen gaat gebruikt worden? So I think, Stella, that's a question if It's Me will also be used in Antwerp.
Yeah, for the time being, It's Me is not in use in the Port of Antwerp. The Port of Antwerp still remains to be working with the Alpha Pass, as we have been knowing it for many years now.
Okay, any more questions? Please feel free to use the chat. Okay, if there are no further questions, please feel free to explore our landing page, which you can find here. And so no PIN codes, please. It will be also available on the website. We will send you the link afterwards, after this webinar. So in the meantime, if you have any questions, please do feel free to contact us. And with that, we want to conclude on our webinar. Thank you very much for being here, and hope to see you soon again. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you, everybody. Bye-bye.